So let's talk about this idea that life is, in a way, like a dream. It's a metaphor that Imam Ali, alayhi salam, used to describe how we, as humans, often live in a state of distraction. He said, people are asleep, and when they die, they wake up. It's such a profound statement, isn't it? It suggests that during our lives we're not fully aware. We're, kind of immersed in this haze, chasing after temporary things, focusing on routines and expectations, but sort of forgetting the deeper purpose of it all. And when you think about it, isn't that what a dream is? In a dream, everything seems real. The emotions, the scenarios, none of it feels like an illusion while we're in it. But when we wake up, we realise, it wasn't real. It wasn't permanent. And that's really what Imam Ali alayhi salam was getting at. Life, in the way most of us live it, is a kind of metaphorical sleep, a state of ignorance, if you will. Now let's bring that into today's world. I mean, it's not hard to see where the distractions come from, right? Technology is probably the biggest player here. I mean, think about it. How many hours do we spend scrolling through our phones, glued to notifications, jumping from one thing to the next? It's constant stimulation that keeps us from pausing, from being mindful and present. Social media, streaming platforms, endless digital rabbit holes, all of it pulls us further and further into this dreamlike state. But it's not just technology. There's also this cultural obsession with always being busy. There's this pressure to achieve, to perform, to always be doing something. And while those things have their place, they can also make us lose sight of, why we're doing them in the first place. We follow routines, meet expectations, but rarely stop to ask ourselves, what's it all for? What's the point beyond the next paycheck, or the next promotion, or just keeping up with everyone else? What's fascinating is that the idea of life as distraction isn't unique to Imam Ali alayhi salam. Throughout history, philosophers, spiritual leaders, the Buddha, for example, they've all touched on this concept. In Buddhism, there's the idea of samsara, this cycle of life and death that we're trapped in because of our attachments and ignorance. And in Western philosophy, you've got thinkers like Plato with his allegory of the cave, where people mistake shadows for reality because they're too scared or too comfortable to turn around and see the light. But what's especially powerful about Imam Ali alayhi salam's perspective is that it doesn't just describe the problem, it points us toward the solution. He reminds us that waking up, becoming aware, isn't just something that happens after we die. It's something we can choose to do now, in this life. And that makes you think, doesn't it? What does it mean to wake up? And how can we start that process before it's too late? And these are the kinds of questions we need to grapple with, because this metaphor of life as a dream, it's not just poetic, it's a wake-up call. If we continue with Imam Ali alayhi salam's idea, the moment of death, this inevitable event we'll all face, is really framed as a tremendous catalyst. But here's the kicker. It's not just about leaving this world or some abstract notion of an ending. It's about what becomes startlingly clear in that moment. All the illusions we've wrapped ourselves in, status, possessions, busy schedules, they fall away. And for the first time, people truly see their lives for what they were. There's no hiding anymore, no distracting ourselves with one more task or meaningless pursuit. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? What's fascinating, though, is how consistently we overlook this reality while we're alive. Why is it that so much clarity often comes too late? Well, it might have something to do with comfort zones. I mean, no one really wants to confront life's fragility head-on. It's uncomfortable to sit with the thought of death, to assess whether all that striving's taking us closer to, or further from, true fulfillment. It takes courage to disrupt the flow of what's familiar, comfortable, even if it's a dream we're stuck in. But here's where Imam Ali alayhi salam's wisdom becomes so valuable. Death doesn't have to be the inevitable wake-up call. It's like he's inviting us to, cheat the system, in a way, to wake up before the end. And that's where the work begins, in actively questioning what holds meaning for us now, rather than waiting for hindsight to drop truth in our laps. Because the hindsight of death doesn't come with second chances. Let's look at this from another angle. Throughout history, there are so many narratives of transformation tied to encounters with mortality. Take literature, for example. Think of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. Ebenezer Scrooge only changes after being confronted, quite dramatically, with the prospect of death and the emptiness of the life he'd been living. Or even Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, who wrote about finding meaning in life amidst unimaginable suffering. Mortality gave Frankl a lens for navigating both despair and purpose. And it's not just stories. If you've ever spoken to someone who narrowly escaped death, a near accident, a terrible illness, it's almost universal to hear them talk about how their perspective shifted. Suddenly, the small worries don't matter as much. They see relationships, experiences, who they are as a person, in sharper focus. It's like the veil lifts, even if just momentarily, and what truly matters stands out in stark relief. But why wait for something extreme to jolt us into awareness? What's stopping us from that clarity now, today? That's the challenge, isn't it? To not just intellectualize the inevitability of death, but to reflect it in how we live. It's hard, but maybe, just maybe, leaning into that discomfort is the very thing we need to begin waking up. And if we embrace that perspective, we can start to make choices that align with our higher truths, rather than the distractions that, let's be honest, often dominate our time. After all, the clarity that comes at the end of life, well, it's something we can seek while we're still living. All right, so we've talked about life as a dream, and how death has this ability to cut through all the illusions we hold on to. But here's the real question. If we know this, if we've been given this insight by thinkers like Imam Ali, السلام, then how do we use it? How do we wake up now, not later? The truth is, every single moment we live holds an opportunity for awakening. And I know that can sound a bit abstract, but at its core, it's about awareness, about being fully present in the here and now. Think about it. How often are we truly focused on the present moment? So much of our time we're either replaying the past or worrying about the future. Yet if we shift our focus even slightly to the present, we can begin to see life a little more clearly. Cultivating awareness, or mindfulness if you prefer that term, is a way to break through the haze. It's not about sitting cross-legged on a mat for hours. Although meditation is a great tool, it's about simple, intentional acts. Really noticing the way your breath feels, the texture of the food you're eating, the sound of the rain. When was the last time you sat and truly absorbed something without distraction? And beyond mindfulness, there's self-inquiry. Really asking yourself tough questions. What drives me? Where am I headed? Am I chasing things that actually matter to me, or just ticking off boxes society handed me? You know, it's interesting how questions like these sometimes feel scary because they force us to confront the possibility that we might need to make changes. But those questions are, in a way, the alarm clock for our spiritual awakening. What I love about tracing Imam Ali alayhi wisdom is how it connects to so many other spiritual and cultural philosophies. For instance, there's the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, the beauty in imperfection and impermanence. It's a gentle invitation to accept life as fleeting and cherish what's real in the moment. Or the Sufi practice of dhikr, a kind of remembrance that draws the heart toward divine presence. These perspectives all converge on one point. Living consciously transforms how we exist. And there's so much we can take away from this shared global wisdom. It doesn't matter where you're from or what spiritual tradition, if any, you follow. This call to wakefulness is universal, and that's the beauty of it. It's a reminder that we don't have to wait for some grand life event or for death itself to start waking up. We just have to begin, wherever we are. So maybe the challenge isn't so much about finding enlightenment, but about remembering how to live meaningfully in a world that often pulls us every which way. And that brings us to the heart of Imam Ali, alayhi salam's message. Life isn't just a dream to drift through. It's an invitation to wake up. And the truth is, that invitation's been right in front of us all along. And that's all for today. Thanks for spending this time with me as we explored these profound ideas together. Take a moment, maybe today, to ask yourself, what will it take for me to wake up? Until next time, stay well, stay present.